Right. So I want to address, did Jesus keep 613 laws? I'm getting comments on that video, and I think it's good to do another video. Uh, you know, there's a point in the Bible where it says we no longer know him after the flesh, but we know him after the spirit. So the flesh, the flesh is given the commands, and it's like a it's like a chemical reaction. You put a law, you touch the flesh with a command, and you're going to see sin stir up. You're going to see it just start bubbling up. That is the way that the flesh engages with the law. And Jesus was sinlessly perfect, of course. Never sinned. Never sinned. He's God. God doesn't sin. That's totally a contradiction of the nature of God. So it would be impossible for him to lie or to sin or to do something that contradicts himself. Like God cannot create a rock that is too big for him to lift. That's a contradiction of his nature. So no, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do it. God does not lie. Cannot do it. He cannot do it. He cannot lie. So Jesus could not be disobedient to the Father. It's a contradiction of his own nature. He was perfect. He loved God with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength every second. The point of saying that his righteousness is not according to law keeping is that it's like it's like when you try and it would be like taking a Picasso painting and taking a felt tip marker and trying to draw edges around every major line. So you got you've got, let's say, the Mona Lisa, and you're just gonna take a thin black marker and just outline her head. Well, it's unnecessary, and it's not even meant to be there. Jesus didn't need the law. He didn't need the law. He is righteous. So he doesn't need to express himself with that, black felt tip marker. Now, the things that he did that were that shocked the Jewish people, like uh, when he spit into the clay and made mud, because the Jews were like, you can't make clay on the Sabbath, and you don't like it, and you can't tell that man to pick up his bed and walk, and you can't heal people on the Sabbath. They were looking at that felt tip marker like this is good, and they're missing the entire painting. And we tend to look at Jesus this way, where we look at him within the lines of a felt tip marker. And Paul says we no longer, well, I don't, maybe Paul or John says we no longer know him after the flesh, but we know him after the Spirit. So the life of God that is expressed to us who believe does not need the felt tip marker in order to validate it. No, God is holy. God cannot lie. He cannot contradict himself. He's much higher than anything the law describes. So if Jesus did something that seemed like it was outside the lines, it's because we've been looking at it according to the flesh. Um, And we all do it. Don't be impatient with yourself, and don't ask God for wisdom. We need to ask him for wisdom. I asked him for wisdom to make this video because I don't really know how to explain it all the time, and I don't want this to be a stumbling block for anybody. And he's faithful, and I think this makes sense. So of course he's righteous. He was sinless. He was a perfect sacrifice. But his obedience wasn't that he was in the lines. Oh, he definitely didn't go. He definitely. Oh, he definitely lived in perfect obedience. Absolutely. But his obedience to the Father was not about the laws. It was about his death on the cross. And that is what God is trying to highlight to us, not simply the lines on the painting, but more his great masterpiece, as that while we were sinners, he died for us. And that is the way that we can know him. And it's much richer than commandments. It's much richer. So kind of stirred up a little bit of something with this whole 613 commandments, but the idea is that we wouldn't just see the Jewish Christ in the flesh who went to the feasts and kept the Sabbath, which he did, but we would see God who condescended and loved us in this way, that he would die for us so that we could be reconciled. And that is his life, which was he laid down for us and is now coming out of the throne to us. All right.